Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to the Kickback Cafe, the show where we kick back, relax, and talk about anything but Disney. Yes, yes, yes. And so I've had Star Wars on my mind the past few days, of course, mostly because of May the 4th. We did a great video with England and Blue Dragon 5 where we broke down the Star Wars Muppet special, which was really good. Really funny, but we kind of referenced a lot the documentary The People versus George Lucas, and that has really got me into this sort of like reflective state of mind. Honestly, I watched The People versus George Lucas on May the 4th, and then like I kind of went back and sort of processed more of it a couple days later. So like I've watched that movie a couple times in the past week or so. So I'm very much in the realm of, fan bases who build something up in their mind so much, something that ever since childhood, the idea of this movie actually happening and coming into existence was just like earth-shattering. And if it ever actually happened, it'd be like, oh my God. Like, this is it. Like, I could just die. I'm sorry. I'm gonna, like, probably, I don't know why I'm freezing so much, but just kind of bear with me. But you know what I mean? It's like I very much got into the headspace of, like, I've never been a huge Star Wars fan. I really have never had that sort of period in my life where I'm just like, oh my God, Star Wars. Like, I've never bought any real, like, Star Wars merchandise or any of the action figures or anything like that. I saw the 3 films as the special editions in theaters, so, regardless of what you think of the special editions, I still consider myself fortunate to have seen those movies for the first time on the big screen. The whole, like, Jabba stuff and the whole Tatooine stuff and Han shot first and all that stuff notwithstanding. But then, I don't know, there's just, Star Wars is always, like, the thing that I, as, like, a serious kind of, fan of hardcore sort of, dare I say, Christopher Nolan-esque, even though I'm not really even the biggest Nolan fan in the world either. But yeah, I just like stories with a lot of complexity in it, and, Star Wars isn't that. It's never been that. Star Wars has always been, these fun popcorn movies that are, of course, cultural touchstones, and I will never take that away from Star Wars. I will never take that away from it. George Lucas made a brand. He made an idea. He had a spark in his head that just inspired, countless millions of people throughout the world. And I even got inspired, like, more so on a filmmaking kind of level with Star Wars, because I would watch the documentaries, of course, when I came out, when that DVD came out, when they were like, oh my God, Star Wars on DVD for the first time. And then there was that bonus material disc that had that 3-hour documentary. I was like 14 at the time, so I was just starting to get into filmmaking, and that, I really got into it in terms of, like I said, never from a narrative point of view, never from like, oh my God, I love these characters so much. I mean, I have my favorite Star Wars characters. I love Chewbacca. I love Admiral Akbar. I love Jabba the Hutt. So basically, I love all the weird creatures in Star Wars, I guess. And I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now, so I'll kind of get to the point of Jurassic Park. Yeah, as I was saying before with the whole, it's a movie that the fan base has built up in their minds for so long, since childhood, and when they found out it was coming, their heads just exploded. Jurassic World is it for me. Jurassic World is my fucking Phantom Menace, and I am so terrified of that right now. Especially, all things considered, the People versus George Lucas and everything like that, and the whole, like, crushing the fan base's heart. When Jurassic World was first announced, and of course, Jurassic Park 4 was in development hell for a long time. There's going to be that kind of rumor of the cybernetic dinosaurs defending people, and in a way, we're still weirdly kind of getting shit like that in this movie. With the raptors in terms of, you know, the dinosaurs helping people, and then also with the Indominus Rex in terms of the gene splicing shit. But really, when it came out and it was like Jurassic World is going to be like set in a fully functioning theme park with thousands of tourists, my head exploded. Like, my little kid childhood imagination just absolutely went nuts when I heard that was what the premise of the new Jurassic Park was going to be. I can't even tell you guys how much, like, as a little kid, the idea of getting to see a fully fledged, fully operational Jurassic Park with, you know, all the attractions intact and everything like that. I mean, I was the weird kid where it was like, when they go on that kind of carousel of progress style, like rotating theater thing in the visitor center, and then everyone gets off and they go into the egg room, I was like, no, don't get off. I want to see the whole ride. So I was like, I was really, really into the theme park aspect of that movie. In fact, almost, I'd wager to say I was more into the theme park aspect of Jurassic Park than the actual fucking dinosaurs. I mean, what can I say? I've just always been a nerd for theme parks. And yeah, so here we have this situation with Jurassic World where I'm sorry about that. Okay, there we go. You know, I've just been building it up, and then the first trailer hits, and I did do a reaction video to the first trailer. Go back and watch that thing, because I lose my fucking mind when we see that kind of underwater reptilian dinosaur. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it, but you know the shot where it goes up and gets the shark. I lost it. I was like a geeky freaking fanboy over the Star Wars trailer. And granted, I also did a Star Wars trailer reaction where I lost it, and I'm already the punchline of a bunch of jokes now over all those reaction videos. Whatever. Yay. I'm just so conflicted about this now. I am like, one half of me is just like, it's still going to be really good. It's still Jurassic Park. It's the fully fledged theme park that you were dreaming about as a kid. That's all going to be there, okay? This other, more realistic, more cynical side of myself that's developed in, you know, the 24 years of watching these various blockbusters and stuff, and almost more often than not, when you're hyped up for a movie to this kind of degree, it's going to let you down. It's going to let you down. Age of Ultron didn't let me down. I was hyped up for that, but, you know, like I said, it's kind of like Dark Knight Rises, Godzilla. I've been down this road before recently, where it's just Dark Knight Rises. I think I probably was looking more forward to that than I was to the actual Dark Knight, believe it or not, because I've always been a big Bane fan, and I absolutely loved what they did with Bane in the trailers. I loved the hoity-toity British voice. I actually really liked the fact that you couldn't hear Bane's voice all the way. I liked that you had to struggle to kind of keep up with it. And then the movie came out, and it was absolute fucking shitstorm. I really don't like Dark Knight Rises at all. Dark Knight Rises kind of started the whole like downward spiral of the DC universe. And yeah, and then Bane, he was awesome until the very end, where he turns out to be just as relevant to the character as Bane and Batman and Robin was. Basically a bomb-wielding henchman of a female character. You know, it pissed me off. It really pissed me off. I mean, not to say that he can't have a female ally. I'm not trying to make it sort of like, oh, sexist comment or anything like that. I'm just saying, it's fucking Bane. It's Bane. It's the guy who broke Batman's back. And you turn him into a henchman. Twice. You know, one time did it much more seriously than the other time, but still, he's a henchman. So, I don't know. And Godzilla was just the case where I was just looking forward to it because Gareth Edwards kept saying, like, oh, yeah, Jurassic Park influence. And that just totally sold me on it. And of course, like everyone else, I was just totally bait and switched by the Bryan Cranston trailer. And let me tell you, I've never felt the air deflate from a theater so fast than when Bryan Cranston was killed off when I first saw Godzilla. It was just everyone was like this, and then Bryan Cranston got killed off. Nothing, no reactions, no cheering, nothing. The whole fucking maybe they cheered for that atomic breath thing at the end, where Godzilla does the atomic breath right into the other monster's mouth. Maybe they cheered for that. That was the only other time the audience had any sort of reaction after Bryan Cranston died. So what I'm trying to say, what this whole big, long, rambling rant is about is I am terrified now that I am just putting my expectations in check, because I can't walk into this thing thinking that it's just going to be this giant, like, reincarnation of my childhood nostalgia. I can't. I was doing that for 6 months. I was doing that when we saw the first trailer. I was doing that when we saw the Super Bowl spot. What really killed it for me was when the Stan Winston Studios distanced themselves from this movie. I'm sorry. I'm going to give credit to the guy who does this analogy in People versus George Lucas, because I'm going to use it a lot. But before Stan Winston Studios kind of said fuck this movie, they don't use any practical effects, there was a glow right here about that movie, about Jurassic World, and about the potential for practical dinosaur effects, because we saw some of it in the Super Bowl trailer. We saw the Indominus Rex jaws. We saw the dead dinosaurs that were obviously practical. I can tell the difference between practical and CGI. Everyone can tell the difference. It's not that you shouldn't use CGI. I'm not saying that. It's just that there should be a good mix. Like there was in this little movie right here. This little movie that everyone fucking forgets about, where it's like, guess what, guys? There was only about 15 minutes worth of dinosaurs in this whole goddamn movie. And it's still so much more kick-ass and so much more of a cinematic achievement than these modern blockbusters today are. And the special effects obviously hold up. Like, that's the big thing with Jurassic Park, is that minus a couple shots here and there, the special effects still look just as good as they did in fucking 1994. I mean, yeah. So, oh God. I can't walk into this thing and just expect it to be anything more than a disappointment. I hate to say that. But that is where I am right now. That is where I am after the Stan Winston Studios comment. I was just so happy about this movie, and then the Stan Winston thing happened, and I just... So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this whole thing has just kind of been on my mind because of the People versus George Lucas and the whole... I was going to be that fanboy. I was going to be that guy who was at the Jurassic World midnight show, and I would have been as hyped as people that are going to be showing up for The Force Awakens. Not that I'm not going to be hyped about The Force Awakens. I am hyped about Force Awakens. I think that the potential for storytelling lore in that trailer, just with the shot of the crashed Star Destroyer alone, is outstanding. Like, I really hope they do some good world building with the whole concept of, like, this planet of, like, junk vehicles and junk spaceships and everything like that. It fascinates me. It really does. It fascinates me. It fascinates me a lot more than the original story, the original trilogy's kind of a stock hero's journey thing did. I'm sorry, but it's true. The original trilogy is a stock hero's journey. It's freaking King Arthur, and that's why I can't fully get into Star Wars as much as everyone else does. Because at the end of the day, it's a recycled story. And that's what George does, That's what he did with Indiana Jones, and it worked great too. I just don't necessarily respond to that kind of stuff as much as I do a movie like this. Where a movie like this, it has dumb moments, it has jokes, it has stupid characters. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Jurassic Park is the most perfect film I've ever seen. It is just my favorite film. Because part of the reason why I like it so much is that I can make fun of some things. You know, it's like a best friend. You know, it's like, you know, they have flaws, but God damn it, they're just so awesome. You can't help it hanging out with them, and you can't help just going back to them year after year after year. You know, Jurassic Park, it's just, what can I say? Like I said, a few flaws here and there. Now I feel like I'm just going to get burned by Star Wars fans for daring to say that Jurassic Park is a better movie than the Star Wars movies. The only reason I say that is because I think Jurassic Park had a more original story, and I love the ideas that they explore in Jurassic Park. I love the whole playing God element of it, you know, and that was what I felt was missing from Star Wars, was the kind of philosophical side. I mean, of course you have Star Wars, you have the Force and everything like that, but I don't know. I feel like I don't even I feel like I'm kind of going in circles with this video. Let me just bring up one thing though. One thing at the very end of this video, in terms of like just kind of put these expectations I have for Jurassic World kind of in check. So a new TV spot was released yesterday, a 1-minute TV spot that showed mostly old footage, kind of rearranged and stuff like TV spots usually do. Gave us a couple new things though. One, we see the person that the pterodactyl picks up. We see him just drop in the water, which I thought was really cool. And then the thing that really got under my skin and kind of pissed me off was we see the two kids in the gyrosphere, right? And then you hear Bryce Dallas Howard, and I assume she's like, you know, narrating in the gyrosphere. Bryce Dallas Howard has the most wooden delivery of "Welcome to Jurassic World," and that's and then realizing like Bryce Dallas Howard is like the star of this thing besides Chris Pratt. She's never been that good. She's never been that good in anything. And every time I see her in the trailers, it's always just the same sort of monotone, dare I say almost episode 1 style, like, these dinosaurs were genetically modified. Attendance skyrockets every time we introduce a new attraction. Chris Pratt, I'm not listening to you. It's so monotone. There is no life in her character. There is no spark in her character. And I guess, I don't know, kind of probably the point, I guess, because she's supposed to be like the big kind of corporate CEO type. Why couldn't they make her like John Hammond? Why couldn't they make whoever was going to be in this role into someone who was actually enthusiastic about it? I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of get what they're going for, that she is just like so unenthused and so just like treating it as a business in terms of like, and Chris Pratt's like, there's just dinosaurs just running around all over this place and you're just kind of thinking about the bottom dollar. It terrifies me. It really does. I think we're going to get a lot of scenes of monotone Bryce Dallas Howard, and I'm not going to like it at all. I like all the other cast in this movie. I mean, of course, Chris Pratt's going to be Chris Pratt. I mean, the only thing I'm hoping for with his character is that I'm hoping that they really get into the raptor training stuff. I really want to see him have like kind of a personal relationship with each of the 3 raptors. I kind of want to see all of his 3 raptors kind of represented, having different personalities, different quirks. I want to see kind of like what the process is of him training those things. And there's a lot you can get out of that from a character point of view. And Jurassic Park has never been the most character-driven movies in the world. But, I mean, when you look back at that first movie, you know, you got Alan Grant, 6-foot turkey. You got Ian Malcolm, of course. You got you've got John Hammond, and John Hammond is one of my favorite film characters of all time. He's basically the living embodiment of Walt Disney in film. That and Howard Stark in Iron Man 2, but I digress. And then even with Jurassic Park, like you have, Guerrero, who's in all likelihood, he could just be written off as a red shirt, but no, he has a personality, and he has a sense of humor about him, and we get to know him before he gets killed off on the toilet. We have Muldoon, and he's like the badass raptor hunter that I kind of wish got more development in the first movie, but still, I like the idea of the character. I like the concept of his character. So, I don't know. Bryce Dallas Howard's really worrying me, and that whole welcome to Jurassic World. I'm just like, no, you shouldn't be saying that. John Hammond should be saying that. God. I really wish they would have just gotten Richard Attenborough before he died to just record Welcome to Jurassic World and just have that as a sound clip. I really, really wish they would have done that. Oh, God. Because he just says it with such enthusiasm. And then Bryce Dallas Howard, even in the fucking recorded narration, the recorded narration in the ride vehicle, she's just doesn't give two shits. Oh dear. I'm actually rather enthusiastic about Ty Simpkins in this movie, because I did think that he did a really good job in Iron Man 3, although that could just be him playing off of Robert Downey Jr. because those two had really good chemistry. But he's a good child actor. I feel like if you're going to have a kid in there, and I understand why there are kids in Jurassic Park, just don't do any fucking gymnastics shit. You hear me? I'm just saying. You gotta have kids in Jurassic Park. It pleases me that they're going with a kid who obviously has some potential for good talent. I do feel like Ty Simpkins, if given the proper roles, he could develop into a Freddie Highmore or a Josh Hutcherson, where, he's known as kind of this precious kid actor, but then he develops into something a little meatier. And I think at least in Iron Man 3, he kind of gave us the screen presence to tell us that he did have that in him. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic about the element of the kids just because of that. Cautiously optimistic about it. Way more optimistic than I am about monotone Bryce Dallas Howard. Welcome to Jurassic World. These dinosaurs are genetically modified hybrids. Every time we bring in a new attraction, attendance skyrocket. I've already done this whole bit again. Okay. I mean, I've already been down this road once with this fucking franchise, and that was Lost World. Lost World was one of those movies for me where, when I first saw it as a kid, I convinced myself that it was good. I convinced myself that it was just a smarter movie, that because I was young, I didn't understand it. I had to watch it again. No. Oh, I remember the first time I saw The Lost World, and I just remember, like, oh God, just how much downtime there was in that movie for the worst. It's like Lost World has more dinosaurs in it than Jurassic Park does, but it just feels way more dull because there's just no likable people in it. So I went down that road with Lost World. Went down that road. I've already been heartbroken by a Jurassic Park movie. It's already happened. Jurassic Park 3? It's a good B movie. I always defend Jurassic Park 3 on that reason. When they made Jurassic Park 3, they weren't setting out to make something like this. They were setting out to make a dumb, stupid popcorn flick that can be enjoyed, that happens to have some Jurassic Park mythology in there, and I think they succeeded in that. Lost World was trying to be all sort of like, oh, it's, you know, because the whole environmentalism thing is really strong right now, Steven Spielberg's going to be topical and bring that up, except the dinosaurs are going to be a metaphor for poaching. And it just got so bogged down in fucking hippy-dippy nonsense and gymnastic nonsense. I still get shivers. I still get shivers thinking about that shit. And it's not like Jurassic Park is the most serious franchise in the world. It's just that the franchise deserves better than that. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to watch Safety Not Guaranteed, the film that Colin Trevorrow directed before this, his debut film, which kind of terrifies me a little bit. I mean, like, Josh Trank, you know, he's only done one film so far. He did Chronicle, and I really love Chronicle. So for that reason, I'm completely willing to give his Fantastic Four a shot. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll see Safety Not Guaranteed, and I'll love it as much as I love Chronicle, because I think Chronicle is one of the best found footage movies ever made, and also just one of the best kind of original superhero concepts to come out since The Incredibles. So yeah, Chronicle was really high up there for me the year it came out, and it came out in like January or February or something. So, all right. But, you know, it's just, I'll have to watch Safety Not Guaranteed. I'll have to kind of give my thoughts about that. I'm sure I'll do at least one more video about this where I probably just repeat the same points I've been repeating in this video before I actually go see the movie. In spite of all my reservations about it, in spite of the fact that I don't think it's going to be this big, giant, epic reincarnation of childhood nostalgia like I thought it was going to be, you know, before Stan Winston Studios pulled their support, I'm still going to be there opening night. I mean, come on. Come on. You know, it's like a Star Wars fan. You know, you're still going to be there for episode 2, even though Phantom Menace sucked. It's like, I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to be hyped. I just, you see, now you see the problem. That's what I'm grappling with. Because in spite of all my reservations, in spite of the fact that the Bryce Dallas performance in this movie looks fucking terrible, in spite of the fact that Stan Winston Studios pulled their support because they were using too much CGI, in spite of all that, and I'm not even going to get into the whole Joss Whedon sexist thing. All I can say to that is, like, Joss Whedon was just pulling up some controversial bullshit just for the sake of being controversial, and it really kind of lessened my opinion of him in general, just because he took something from a 30-second out of context clip and he essentially gave a movie that was struggling you know, to get a following and to build anticipation, and he just slaughtered it with bad press when that whole sexist thing came out. That pissed me off really bad. That really distanced me from Joss Whedon on a personal level, because it just wasn't his place. And it was obviously, I mean, it's like, oh, Chris Pratt is telling monotone Bryce Dallas Howard that it might not be a good idea to do the Indominus Rex. Sexist! 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 Totally sexist! Shut up. Just shut up, Joss. Seriously, just shut up. Because what you just did there was, like I said, you took a movie that there's no way in hell that Jurassic World is going to have any sort of box office, you know, box office effect on Age of Ultron, because it's going to come out farther along the line. You know, I mean, Age of Ultron is already going to have most of its money already made by the time Jurassic World gets into theaters. I think Jurassic World's biggest competition is really Mad Max and Tomorrowland. Like, we'll see how. I'm definitely thinking it has a chance to beat Mad Max in its third weekend. I mean, obviously, it's going to be #1 this second weekend because jack shit comes out this weekend. But I think it has a chance to beat Mad Max. I don't necessarily think it has a chance to beat Tomorrowland in its fourth weekend, just because that's Brad Bird and Disney's just been on such a hot streak recently. George Clooney's a big star, so I don't know. Those comments, like I said, just really turned me off to Whedon. I mean, I love his writing style. You know, I love all the jokes in Age of Ultron. I thought that it was kind of a great sort of I don't like Age of Ultron. Some people were disappointed that it wasn't as dark as it was, but you know, it's a fucking Marvel movie. Like Marvel Comics, even in the darkest, most serious, dour circumstances that Marvel Comics have been in, you still have Spider-Man in there cracking a joke. You know, it's like, come on. That's what I can't stand about the DC movies. You know, is that like they like go for this whole like, oh, we're gonna take things completely seriously, and we can't have jokes, God forbid. And then when they do jokes, it's like literally like one of the worst fucking jokes I've ever seen in any fucking movie. You know, the whole like, oh, he's kind of hot. Really? Really? Like, you're a studio that claims that you don't do jokes, and then you come out with that stink bomb of a joke. I'm done with DC, really. I'm not looking forward to Batman v Superman at all. Just because of Zack Snyder. I don't like Zack Snyder as a director. Suicide Squad, we'll see how it goes, but I don't necessarily like the looks of that either. And then, you know, we'll see how it goes from there. Obviously, they're not going to get anywhere close to Marvel Cinematic Universe because Marvel Cinematic Universe is just so ahead of the game, and it's already like, it's like DC. It's like Marvel Cinematic Universe has already like lapped DC twice, and now DC is like walking out of the starting line. Like that is how far DC is behind. But yeah, this I did not plan on this video being like so long and so tangent filled. I mean, I expected it to be a tangent, but so yeah, just to reiterate, I'm terrified for Jurassic World because I have this in the back of my head as a giant Jurassic Park fan, you know, as someone who definitely claims that Jurassic Park was my Star Wars. Jurassic Park was the moment for me when I knew I wanted to tell stories, when I knew that I wanted to be involved in a creative process. Jurassic Park just opened my mind, just completely just opened the doors to my whole imaginative world. And especially because of thinking of all the possibilities of, you know, a Jurassic Park theme park, which we're getting in this movie. But, you know, of course, now as a cynical mid-20s film fan, it really is Bryce Dallas Howard that's really bothering me at that point. I mean, I can even get over the Stan Winston Studios thing because who knows? I mean, maybe they're just bitter that they didn't get as much work as they thought they would get, so that's why they disassociated themselves. Maybe it has nothing to do with the actual artistic integrity of the film. Even if that's true, which I don't think it is, I do genuinely think that Stan Winston Studios dropped their support because they felt like the CGI was ruining the artistic integrity. Even if that's true, we still have monotone Bryce Dallas Howard being all like, the I-Rex is our newest creation. We genetically modify these dinosaurs. Every time an attraction opens up, attendance skyrockets. I have no other emotion in my voice except run! Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I am sure that I will release another video as it gets closer to mid-June and it gets closer to the release date. But in spite of all that, you know, I'm going to be like the Star Wars fan, you know, in line for episode 2. I'm going to be like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be excited. My expectations are going to be low, but I'm still in the back. I can't not be excited. I just can't not be excited for it. It's not in me. It's not in me in spite of all these cynical sort of things that are popping up with this movie. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I feel like this has just been a big therapy session where I'm like, oh God, this is like the you know, literally like the ultimate like wish fulfillment movie for me. I have wanted nothing. I have wanted no movie more than a Jurassic Park movie where we fully see a fully functioning Jurassic Park. Literally, in the history of film, I have not wanted anything more than I have wanted that. It has been in my childhood mind since I was a 7-year-old and I first got done seeing the first movie. You know? And that's why Lost World disappointed me so much. That's one of the big reasons why Lost World disappointed me so much was because a theme park had nothing to do with it. So, so you understand my dilemma right now, because it's like, this is literally my most anticipated movie of my entire life. But now there's kind of these red flags that are going up for me, and I'm very much reflecting on what everyone went through with the Phantom Menace. So I'm terrified, but also slightly still kind of ecstatic for the whole concept of this movie. I don't know. It's just, oh man, it's just a complicated mess of different feelings right now. And even after blabbing to the camera for 45 minutes, I still don't feel like I have my my expectations any more or less in flux than they already were. So, so in the next month, like I said, I will be, when Jurassic World does come around, probably like the day before it opens or whatever, I'll release like one final sort of like vlog type thing where it's like, oh my god, it's almost here. Because this thing it's in spite of all my reservations about it, it really is a big event for me. It really is like the Phantom Menace event for me, as someone who Jurassic Park shaped me in the way that Star Wars shaped most people. So, oh gosh, I am so conflicted. I am so fucking conflicted on this thing. It's like, obviously I want it to be great. I mean, I wanted to have that same sort of charm and nostalgia, and I want all the characters to be really well developed, and I want it to not just be a stupid, dumb B movie like Jurassic Park 3 was, because they're advertising it as more than that. But, it's so hard. It's so hard. Oh, such a rough world we live in now, where we have to check our expectations about these giant, big budget comic book movies and dinosaur movies and space movies. Oh, dear. So, yeah, I think I've exhausted all I have to say about this subject. My God, I did not expect it to go on this long. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and, modify those dinosaurs in the lab. It's the I-Rex. The I-Rex is bigger than the T-Rex. I'm Bryce Dallas Howard. Welcome to Jurassic World. All right, I'm done. See you guys later.